MarketWatch.com has an interesting story. They're reporting the massive stock market rally in the past 9 months is mostly due to secret government buying of stock index futures. A respected stock and market analysis, Charles Biderman, chief executive of Trimtab's Investment Research, is the latest and most credible person to charge that the Fed Reserve and Treasury, in link with top Wall Street firms, is rigging the stock market on a daily basis. In a special report released on Tuesday, Biderman said the $6 trillion increase in U.S. stock market capitalization since March cannot be explained by the usual sources of funds flowing into the market, such as mutual funds, direct retail investments, pension funds, hedge funds, foreign purchases. The only logical explanation for the extent of the rally, he suggested, is secret buying by a government committee known collaterally as the Plunge Protection Team. Yep, the PPT was established by President Ronald Reagan in 1988 after the 1987 stock crash to coordinate the government's response to market meltdowns. It consists of the Fed chairman, the Treasury secretary, head of the Securities and Exchange Commission, and the head of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. Biderman acknowledged that he had no direct evidence that the Fed or other agencies have intervened in the stock market, but worried about what would happen to the market if the PPT has been buying and then suddenly stops. The Fed, of course, is a major player in the fixed income markets, buying and selling billions in treasuries, agency bonds, and mortgage-backed securities. It's taken on hundreds of billions in assets from Bear Stearns, American International Group, AIG, and many, many unnamed banks to which it has lent money. Presumably all of these positions are duly reported by the central banks each week. But the Fed has never said that it is buying equities or equity futures. Doing so would likely violate the Federal Reserve's investment policies and could violate federal law if not disclosed properly. Aside from the legal issues, the PPT would have operational constraints. It's hard to believe that the Fed could keep such a conspiracy a secret for 20 years or more. An operation big enough to manipulate markets for months on end would be big enough to develop leaks. With so much money at stake, anyone with direct knowledge of the conspiracy, such as a $30,000 a year, administrative aid, would be highly tempted to blow the whistle. Yet, Biderman's accusation of the PPT market manipulation is another argument in favor of a complete public audit of the Fed's books. As any casual reader of this site's community board knows, there's a widespread belief that the PPT does manipulate stock prices on a daily basis to enrich its pals and screw individual investors. It would be useful to prove them wrong, and if they're right, the PPT should be put out of business. Rex Nutting, the Washington Bureau Chief. You can find this story at MarketWatch.com.
The so-called mainstream media continues to do what it does best by focusing on anything and everything that does not matter, such as the lives of celebrities. Example, Charlie Sheen. However, with Sheen comes along useful facts and information, even to the publications that insist on continuing to call themselves mainstream. We have video example of this, but first we would like to present another example for your viewing pleasure and salute Rolling Stone magazine for continuing its trend of employing common sense by exposing the fact that the mainstream media, in an attempt to maintain relevance, is merely only copying the example of such syndicated and non-syndicated publications such as Common Sense News, by exposing that Glenn Beck is doing nothing but plagiarizing Texas-based radio and television host Alex Jones. You might recognize Alex Jones from such movies as A Scanner Darkly and the popular television show Conspiracy Theory, hosted by former Governor Jesse Ventura. Here is a video clip of Mr. Jones appearing on the television show The View, speaking about his good friend, Charlie Sheen.
Well, joining now is the radio show host and close friend of Charlie Sheen, the man he was talking to, Alex Jones. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. If I could just say one thing, I've known Charlie for about 6.5 years. He's never drunk alcohol, used drugs in front of me. He's been completely clean for almost a decade until about 7 months ago. Now he's come off the drugs and the alcohol, which is almost like, you know, being off your meds. It has the same effect. So he's supercharged. He's angry. He's focused. And I know that when they interviewed him at his house, because I talked to him, they interviewed him for about 2 hours. And that's a little kind of joke that's out of context. He's tired of being judged and him being held up as the ultimate demon in this world. He didn't kill 1 million people in Iraq. He wasn't involved with the takedown of Building 7 here in New York. And he thinks there's bigger devils out there than himself. And Chuck Lorre's put out a whole bunch of these cue cards while having management tell him a month ago, if you speak out against 4 episodes being cut, we're going to fire you. Then he starts putting out all of these. Chuck Lorre. He starts putting out. He starts putting out vanity cards, not just on 2.5 Men, but on other shows, saying Charlie Sheen is dead inside and soulless. You didn't show the worst one there, and so Charlie's told, we're tying your hands. Now we're going to beat you up for whatever contract negotiations.
Let me ask you. So the question that I have is, so you're saying Chuck Lorre started this?
With the vanity card.
With the vanity
And up front had management, according to Charlie, and I've been there when he's on the phone with his management or his manager comes over.
You're talking too fast for me, baby. Slow down.
Well, I know we don't have a lot of time. I'm getting it on record.
Right.
They told him, before he said a word, they said, we're doing this, and if you criticize it, you're going to be fired. And he said, why are you telling me this? You know, I'm going through a hard time right now. But he didn't understand it then. I think they're trying to make him quit or something, so they have to pay out his contract or the $100 million in syndication. I think there's some shenanigans going on here. And then they start putting these things out. Then they start putting these vanity cards out, trying to prod him and push him.
Tell people what vanity cards are. I don't think people know.
Okay, most shows have a logo at the end, you know, like a little dog or the MGM lion. Chuck Lorre has these big write-ups at the end of his show. And imagine at the end of the show with Charlie Sheen and other CBS shows.
This is on air.
This is on air, saying this man is soulless. This man is dead inside.
Let me ask you this. Do you think, because from that clip that we saw, a lot of people would ascertain, okay, or assume that Charlie was on drugs again. You say he wasn't. Do you think
he's taking blood tests?
Do you think he's...
I've been at his house when they come in, take the blood, take the urine.
I take your word.
I was there 2 weeks ago.
I hear you. Do you think he's manic depressive? I mean, as a friend, do you say, okay, this is something else? You guys are missing the boat. It's not the drugs. He's actually suffering from manic depressive disorder.
Let's just remember, you know, Charlie's been a star. Charlie's been a star for 30 years, and all people know about is these episodes where he explodes. The Charlie Sheen I know is a compassionate guy who's really smart.
The episodes where he explodes. I mean, he was saying, you know, this is the best thing that happened to the people who were with me. They're never going to regret it. They had the best time. You know, this is on drugs, tearing up rooms in hotels. What about that explosion?
I know this. I don't use illegal drugs, but when I quit smoking, I've had a long battle with that. I feel horrible for a week, and about a week later, my wife says, please, just go back to smoking sometimes because I get so manic. And I think we have a similar physiology. A lot of people have that physiology.
He was not giving it up at that point. He was on the drugs and booze.
Oh, you're talking about the last few months.
Do you think there's something underlying here that people are missing as a friend?
I just think that he's somebody going through a hard time who got clean, and that's why I went out to California to help him. And I know that it's wrong for them to be prodding him, yes, and demonizing him and trying to make him blow up. That's actually what I believe is going on here. They should all just shake hands, bury the hatchet, come together for the crew of 2.5 Men. I want try to support Charlie, but also Chuck Lorre, everybody else, but understand what happened.
Okay. Okay. So you're worried about it.
But Charlie's tired of being held up like the devil. We got the TSA putting their hand down people's pants. Infowars.com covers it all. We've got the banks bankrupting the U.S.
Wait. Let's stick with Charlie, because that's way too much for me,
Charlie is mad because he's held up as all the problems. He didn't steal $23.7 trillion like the Federal Reserve.
We're just here to figure out what is happening with Charlie. That's what we're trying to figure out.
And he's doing interviews now, so he has a chance to speak for himself. And
but they're taken out of context.
Look, we're not comparing him to Gaddafi.
You haven't seen them.
Oh, they've been comparing him to Gaddafi.
Look, I was just saying, I don't think I
Let's compare George Bush, $1 million Iraqis, to Gaddafi.
Are we going to really go there right now?
Torture, secret arrest, America's turning into a police state.
We're asking you about your friends.
Excuse me. I think we were here to talk about Charlie Sheen. I'm not trying to cut you off.
Charlie says you have a right to kill him, but not to judge him, as Colonel Kurtz said.
Thank you. You are
I hope you're
certainly
this
a
passionate
wonderful
about being his friend and helping him.
Yep, boy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Charlie, stay clean. We love you. And everybody else out there, stay clean. Don't use drugs.
That's a
Infowars.com.
good message. Okay. Woo.
Infowars.com.
All right, when we come back, our series.
Except, Lori, quit writing those dinosaurs, buddy.
We'll be right back, okay? We'll be right back.
In 1953, Francis Crick went into his local pub in Cambridge on a February evening and told the whole pub, quote, that we have found the secret of life, end quote. Well, for once, someone wasn't exaggerating. Turns out Crick and his colleague, Dr. James Watson, had worked out the double helix structure of diaribonucleic acid, DNA, and that it could unzip to make copies of itself. This discovery revolutionized biology, medicine, and also how we see the world. It led to the creation of biotechnology industry and provides hope that through genetics we may conquer some of the world's diseases that afflict the human race. Much has been written about this discovery, but the role that LSD played is almost always ignored. Crick told biochemist Richard Kemp that he often used small doses of LSD to boost his powers of thought, and that he had first perceived the double helix shape while on LSD, using the visions as a basis for his research. This staggering revelation, as well as Crick's idea that life on Earth began when a spaceship from a higher civilization dropped microorganisms, is rarely mentioned in any scientific literature. Francis Crick was not alone in the world of science when it comes to the creative use of LSD. Dr. Kary Mullis, the 1993 Nobel Prize winner for chemistry and inventor of PCR, without which genetic engineering would be impossible, claimed in an interview that, quote, I doubt I would have ever invented PCR if I hadn't taken LSD. It allowed me to sit on a DNA molecule and watch the polymers go by, end quote. While there is still blue plaque in the Eagle Pub in Cambridge City Centre to mark where Crick made his dramatic statement, there is no corresponding plaque of the place where he took the LSD that led to this revelation about the double helix. Science is fun for girls and boys.
That's going to do it for this edition of Common Sense News. Thanks for joining us. Drop us a line at commonsensenews@hotmail.com and watch this episode and all other episodes in a convenient playlist at youtube.com/csnews101. Thanks for joining us. Now on to the lighter note.
My baby's getting down on me. I said lately I've been getting no sleep. There's no give and take, I'm just feeling the brace, and she's letting me swing. Baby's been getting down on me.
I know how to sing that.
Yeah, rock it.